Hello, you beautiful legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 369. This Friday was quite a normal day, so the update today won't be an extensive one, albeit there was a highlight that I want to mention, and the title of the podcast episode and the blog post is actually telling a lot. It's very straightforward. Um, the weather is kind of rainy and gloomy, but in the morning we got a lot of sun spells and the weather was kind of looking nice. So instead of usual lunchtime that I would do around 1 or 2 o'clock, we decided with my wife to use the opportunity, and when we dropped Julian at school, we shifted that lunchtime to earlier and decided to go straight away to Murvach Beach and try to use the weather window as an opportunity to have our walk. And because I had a meeting at 11 a.m., we didn't have much time, but we had enough to complete our walk if we were uh, you know doing that fairly uh, fast and without rushing, but fairly you know in a normal pace that we usually walk. And and so we did. It was exactly enough time to get the walk done and return to the house. And I still had 10 minutes to prepare for my meeting, so it was well planned. We managed it very well. But during the walk, we got wet, so we got kind of drizzle, and I was expecting it slightly when we arrived at Morvac because I saw that the wind is blowing from the land towards the ocean, which is not so prevalent. Most of the time, we are getting winds from ocean direction into the bay and into the land, but sometimes that wind comes from the east, and this today was the time when the eastern kind of winds were pushing the masses towards the bay and towards the ocean. And I saw in the distance a big masses of rainy clouds over the Blue Stack Mountains. So I was expecting that we'll get some of the drizzle, and there was a beautiful rainbow. We got wet a little, but then it passed fairly quickly. So on the way back, we were actually getting the wind to dry us and a lot of sun. And despite the chilly temperatures and the fact that we were wet and it was windy, we weren't getting cold, which was quite nice. And also, it seemed like we were just after the high tide, and the ocean must have been very kind of rough because it left a lot of seaweeds at the shore. And I saw the opportunity to actually collect some samples because I always wanted to forage for seaweeds, but I have no clue yet what really I need to look for, etc. I read a little bit in the past, but didn't get anywhere near seaweeds, and it was perfect opportunity because the temperatures are getting colder, so there's less risk of any bacteria in the water, uh, as it usually is with the hotter months or kind of warmer weather and water. And yes, I basically got a couple of samples of sea lettuce and some Carrageen moss. I wrote a little bit more in today's blog post, but uh, kind of just to give you an idea, Carrageen moss is a very old and long time used source of dietary fiber, proteins, and a lot of vitamins, and different compounds like the trace minerals that we need in our bodies and anti-inflammatory compounds, or a lot of features that are promoting health basically, and good well-being, and was they were used not only in Ireland but in Great Britain, in Scotland, in Wales, and in England as well for ages, and in Northern Ireland as well. So uh, we are lucky to get abundance of kelps and different red algae and other green and brown algae as well. So there's a lot of seaweeds close to our shores, and yeah, Ireland was for a long time a big exporter, especially of kelp and processed, you know, produce of the kelp in the past. So yeah, I collected those samples. I washed them at home, and after a meeting and the usual work that I've done, I tried in the kitchen a couple of samples and tasting. As sea lettuce wasn't the best, but Carrageen moss was, well. I think it's Carrageen moss. It looks slightly different, but it might be because it was a little bit, I would say, shaved or ripped by the waves of the actual, sorry, wider and wider leaves. Actually, Carrageen moss is not a one specific species of seaweed, albeit it's pinned to specific seaweed, but there are different red algae that are used under umbrella term of Carrageen moss as well. So I think I just got one of them, tasted it. It was crispy and quite nice as an addition. I wouldn't base my dish on that kind of flavor or that type of sea vegetable, but it's a nice addition. Later on, I've chopped it very finely and added as a for topping for gnocchi that I did. So it was a mixture of Italian and Irish cuisine, and it tasted good. Even my wife tried a little bit of that on her gnocchi, and she was fine. The only aftermath, or I would say, you know, thing that I feel at the moment is I don't have any stomach upset, but I think they are very fairly hard to digest, so they need more time to break down in the stomach. And also, when I burp, sometimes I can feel that ocean kind of fishy, low tide smell of the shore. So it's kind of weird and not the most pleasant uh, way of feeling, but hey, that's the what experimenting brings. I might next time try to cook them a little bit to soften them and make them more digestible, because they really have a lot of nice sources. They are really nice source of proteins, dietary fiber, vitamins, and all the other compounds. So I really want to try and test and see what I can do with them, where they become palatable and or palatable. I don't know how do you call it. Basically, just their flavor is not killing you or not making them inedible, and it doesn't destroy the dishes, and they are actually digestible and nice to you know complement the actual dishes, rather than you know overtake them with their flavor, or actually make render them you know inedible. So yeah, that's it for today. Julian and Elizabeth are already in bed, so I will be closing in. It's already 22 past 11 p.m. So I need to upload this one, attach it or embed it in the blog post, and publish everything. So thank you very much for your time. I hope this was interesting. If you have any questions or feedback, please do send it my way, either through the comments here or on YouTube or wherever you see me or watch me or listen to me, or actually if you read the blog, obviously there is a comment section to leave feedback under the posts. So please use any channels to reach out, and I'll be glad to respond. In the meantime, have a great rest of the day, afternoon, or the evening, wherever you are. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.